Hello VTubers, Philip here, and welcome to another edition of the Weekly Rant. Today I'm again joined with TheChudude and Baseball Lover. How are you guys doing today?
Ciao.
Ciao.
Okay, so this week was the Ardennes Classics week, and we just got done with the cobblestones, and the action has not been written off yet, because we now have the Ardennes Classic, and a lot of stuff is happening this week. So let's start it off. The first race was the Amstel Gold Race. Gold Race, not the goat race, but it was won by Philip Gilbert, who finally won a stage in a while now. What did you guys think about the Amstel Gold Race?
Well, that was actually a very good race. I mean, it wasn't as good as it was hyped up to be, certainly though. Nothing really happened. You could have watched the last 5Ks and not missed out anything pretty much. Um, it came down to the last climb, the Kalberg, and after that climb, it was a sort of like a false climb finish. And Gilbert on that Kalberg climb proved to be just the absolute strongest. I mean, no one could follow his attack, his move. Gerrans proved that he could do a bit, but not keep up to that pace of Gilbert, who seems to be in very, very good touch. What do you guys see from that stage, Baseball Lover?
Um, well, I saw what the race route, the changed race route really brings, and to me it doesn't really bring much. I mean, you saw by the time they were all splintered up across the climb. I mean, I think that the finishing order they finished in, besides Van Endert, I'm not really sure what happened with him. Besides that, like it just proved that Gilbert was gonna win no matter what, because you come off of a climb and there's only 2K left. Like they weren't really going to get organized. They were probably all dead from the climb. They're not going to chase Gilbert down. So I don't really think that matters in terms of the winner. I was disappointed that Perito crashed. I think he might have been the one person who could have followed Gilbert on that attack. But I mean,
Well, I
I
agree on the
mean,
part where you say that the race should have ended at the top of the climb, because this was my first time ever watching Amstel Gold Race, and I was like, this is looking very interesting, and then once they reached the top of the climb, all the action just got killed, and I was like, so
Mhm.
now Philip Gilbert has a 2 kilometer victory race, or like road down to his finish. I think I should end it there. Also, one thing I want to thanks Cosmo Catalano for doing the how the race was won on that video, because that really proved that Philip Gilbert is a really smart rider, because when Simon Gerrans first attacked, he went to the right side of the
yeah,
road and took
I
the
don't know.
wide turn, while Philip Gilbert took the best line possible and took a very linear turn. So he got the most amount of speed out of his acceleration, while Gerrans had to use a lot more efforts to get his acceleration going. So I gotta
Mm.
say that Philip Gilbert really played
Yeah,
that well.
I don't know what Gerrans was doing. I don't know.
It
I don't
didn't
know what he
make
was
it
doing.
did not make much
I mean,
sense. I mean, but
if if you watch that stage again, it was exactly the same as how last year's race went. It was like a mirror image. We saw Gilbert went on last year as well, because I watched last year's race like a couple hours before this year's race, and it was exactly the same. Gilbert went on that same move with Gerrans, and but it was Valverde following, and Gilbert got a gap, and then he got caught on that flat finish, and then it was pretty much a sprint from there, not including Kreuziger, who was in the break. So proves that Gilbert's actually gotten a bit stronger from last year, which is nice to see.
well, it's
Oh,
all about
it
that World
it was
Championship
supposed to
jersey.
be a contract year. Apparently, he got a new one though, so it's not.
Well, it's all about that World Championship jersey. You know, when you have it, it's the curse.
I
When you
guess,
don't have
yeah.
it, you win. Like Rui Costa, where was he at? Decent dents, so faces this year. So,
Yeah.
I
but
think he got
still,
like a top
curse.
15
Yeah,
once.
sucks.
That's his best result.
But I gotta say that Amstel Go Race, it was kind of a disappointment. I gotta say as well, because I watched the final 20 kilometers, and thank God I did not watch more than that,
It's
because it
pretty
was kind of
boring.
boring. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But let's table flip that and go into the next Ardennes. So the next one was La Flèche Wallonne, which was won by Alejandro Valverde, and finally Valverde won an Ardennes Classic again. So kudo to him. And in second place, I know Baseball Lover is very sad to see that someone he cares about finished there, which of course was Daniel Martin. So you can start this one off, Baseball Lover. What do you think about the La Flèche Wallonne
Okay.
Ardennes Classic?
I think that Flèche Wallonne is like a curse for Dan Martin because he always seems to have horrible positioning for some reason. You saw just before the climb, Nathan Haas like rocketing to the front, and then he looks behind him. Oh yeah, Dan Martin's not there. And so I was really disappointed as I was watching this because I had to watch on the cycling hub because I had school in the morning. And I was like, dang it, he's not going to get anything. All of a sudden, I just see Dan Martin like satisfied to just see him attacking like that after he had been virtually at the back of the group, like not even involved. And oh man, I really thought he had it there once he passed Kwiatkowski for a second, and then I realized Valverde was coming. Um, oh man, he got sixth and then fourth and then second in La Flèche, so now he's gonna be in 0th place. Not really sure how that works, but maybe it'll just translate to first.
DNF?
Hopefully.
DNF?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah,
think, Chidi?
certainly it was
What
one
did
of
you
the
think of
races that
Flèche Wallonne?
when Martin made that move, you thought he had it for a second, and then Valverde timed his run perfectly. I think the Flèche Wallonne, it's a stage where it's all brute force in that last kilometer. I mean, again, it was like a race like Amstel where I don't know because I didn't watch it. It was actually an earlier finish than the other races and caught us all off guard as well. I know a few of you guys couldn't make it to watch it, so yeah, it was pretty much that steep climb. It was steep. It was a killer, and it turned out to whoever was at the front the latest, like timed the run perfectly because on those large steep climbs, I mean, it's really easy to get caught into it and go too early because you think you're so close to the finish line, yet it's steep, and that's what killed someone like a Kwiatkowski, I think. And
Yeah.
Valverde just sat on the wheel and just got his nose in front at the right time with like 10, 20, 30 meters to go, and that's proved the difference. So very
You know,
cycle smart, I guess.
Kwiatkowski, he made a move like
Yeah, no,
getting to the part of the climb where it's like the climax of the climb, and the announcers are like, and there goes Kwiatkowski, he's going to take it. But that's not the way it works because, he had no more red bar left now. So he's going to make the cracked animation, and the other guys are just going to rocket past him because their heartbeat's lower, and then they're just going to sprint to the finish. It's like PCM 11, like, it all comes down to the mountain sprint or the hill sprint. It doesn't,
Well,
you're just not 84 because it has to be 84 in PCM 11.
let's talk about Gilbert as well because when he won Amstel, people talking him up about
Yeah.
winning all three of them, and
They thought he was an Ardennes triple winner again, and that's just no.
yeah, certainly I thought. Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
he had
like
a good
10th.
chance of La Flèche. I never thought he was going to win Liège, and I still don't think he's going to win it. But he was in very bad position when I watched it, and he might have got caught behind on a crash. Like he didn't crash, but he probably got lost a couple places. And when those steep, narrow roads, I mean, positioning is key. I mean, everyone knows that when they've played Pro Cycling Manager, and guess what? It happens in real life as well.
But
The
you
blocking.
have to remember that like Gilbert was around the same position as Dan Martin. Like I saw with like 1K to go, they had an overhead where it was Gilbert moving up, and then on his wheel was Nibali, and on his wheel was Martin. And Martin still got second. Martin was in front for a while, so I don't think Gilbert can really use that as an excuse. He could have just tacked onto Martin's wheel if he had it. I mean, it's never good to have bad positioning. I think that could have drained Martin a lot. Plus, there was Slatter who decided that he was just going to go on the other side of the road and leave Martin. That's okay. I mean, he got a top 5, so good for him. But I would have liked to have seen him work a little more. I mean, obviously, he relished his chances, and that's fine. But, like, still, I just think that you can't blame it all on positioning, but still positioning is a big thing.
I mean,
yeah, regarding entertainment value between La Flèche Wallonne and Amstel Gold Race, I really want to say that La Flèche Wallonne got it right. That final climb was so exciting. Plus, there were no downhill finish afterwards. You didn't have to watch another 5 minutes of like, yep, Gilbert's gonna win it. Yep. 1 minute later, yep, Gilbert won it. Good job. No, it was right there, action packed in the finish. And after the feeling I had after watching Amstel Gold Race, like, that was kind of like lackluster in the final kilometers. It's not very fun to leave a race like that. But with La Flèche Wallonne, it was like there was a big attack, there was a big sprint forward, and everyone was cheering. It was really exciting going up the Mur and all that. And it was really once that race was done, you were like, really, Valverde is that strong? Holy crap! I didn't have that feeling when Philippe Gilbert won the Amstel Gold Race.
I mean,
You guys
I
follow
want.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, another question I want to ask: do you think these races are too compact with each? I mean, they're having races every like 3 days, pretty much, and these are hard races.
I
They're
love
like
it.
200
I don't care what the riders feel. I love that I get to watch races every 3 days.
But okay, so the cobblestones were the exact same. There were like 3 to 4 days in between every cobblestone
Cobblestone
stage.
still was a week. It was every Sunday
No,
pretty much.
but there was the shield depression, all those
Yeah, but
in
that's not a
between.
cobbles race. That's like a
There were still
break.
cobbles in
Like,
there.
oh, we get to
Yeah,
sprint now.
and the Ardennes are only over 1 week. There's pretty much
Yeah,
3
but
races over
still,
a
the
week,
Ardennes.
and
Well,
that's what you
it's kind of like um the Flemish week with Dwarsdorp,
Yeah, it's
Ghent, and
true.
E3.
I also want to say that the Ardennes classics
and
not that tough. Like it all comes down to the final few kilometers. In the cobblestone races, it's through the entire race you have to be awake.
Well, we'll talk about Liège later, but I
Yeah, well, I
think that's
haven't
a
seen
different
Liège-Bastogne
animal.
Liège before, so couldn't say
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But the 2 races I did see, it was all just it was like watching a Tour de France stage, where it's like, oh, this is gonna be this is gonna be a little climb in the Enfield Schubert, some endurance. Those guys are gonna try and give it a go. That was what I felt like watching this.
But I find it disappointing that riders like Gurns are like they're not riding La Flèche because they want to rest up for Liège. I mean that lose a lot of a wow factor out of it when riders are resting so they can get ready for the next one.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's a mistake. I mean,
yeah. I don't know what's
maybe
going on with Aussies.
If anyone watches NBA, does anyone here remember when the San Antonio Spurs got fined for resting their star players? Should that
yep.
be implemented into a cycling where like Durant would get a fine for not riding the Flash?
I mean,
No, it's their
Jones is not the
decision.
only one. It happens every year. I mean, last year we had riders
Yeah.
do that thing as well. So I mean, it happens very commonly. And
Be funny if not like get a fine for not riding the Tour de France. Put your focus on the shitty Italian Vuelta a España. Well, here's a fine.
everyone would do that because of Chris Froome.
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, I gotta say that the Ardennes kind of disappointing, yeah, so far compared to the cobblestones, but there's still Liège-Bastogne-Liège to make that opinion up. But meanwhile, these Ardennes has been going on. A little appetizer for the Giro d'Italia has also been going around, and it also starts with Giro, the Giro del Trentino. And I know that TheChudude loves the winner. He's a big fan of the winner, at least I think you are. But Cadel Evans dominated this together with Mikel Landa. What do you guys think of this Trentino race? You can start, TheChudude, since Evans won this.
Well, it's kind of like I'm just glad to see this happen. I mean, I didn't want to see a Cadel Evans to the form he was riding at Tirreno Adriatico. I mean, that was it just made me sad. Like him just not showing up at all, and now he's suddenly got some form. I mean, something to look forward to in the Giro. I mean, at least he can hopefully do something in the Giro with the form he's got now. I mean, the form at Tirreno, he just wouldn't even finish the Giro. So I'm happy to see Cadel, like, at least is on an upwards curve, but he's still got a lot of improvement to do well to at least get a podium at the Giro, I think. I mean, let's not get carried away. He didn't have the best competitors, but he did still have decent competitors. I mean, Pozivivo looked all right. And then there was other guys like Niemic, Scarponi was there. Like, it wasn't great. Yeah, it wasn't great riders, but it's like respectable riders. And for Cadel to get a first, I mean, that's a big thing as well. I mean, he got first in the team time trial. It shows his team is there to support him as well, which I questioned in the past. But it's good to see Cadel actually get some results. I mean, he's getting old, and it's probably going to be his last year of real competitive racing. So that's
Baseball lover, who surprised you the most in this Trentino race?
Evans.
Evans?
He's 37, and according to TheChudude, he's doped. So, anyway, that's just like you don't. He's peaking too early, I think. People on cycling news comments were like cursing me out because of this, but it's true. You know, people are like, "Oh, you win Trentino and you'll win the Giro d'Italia," but that's not the way it works when you're 37. Like, they're like, Nibali, he won the Giro, so he did well, No, that's not how it works for Cadel Evans. That's not the same guy. You can't just say, oh, well, because Nibali did it, a young guy well, not a young guy, but a younger guy who's far superior. You can't just say that because he did it, that now Cadel Evans can do it.
True. Well,
Cadel Evans can't do it.
So many
He's
people
gonna
are putting
get
focus
failed.
on
He's gonna
Cadel
fail
Evans.
completely.
Like, so many people putting focus on Cadel Evans. I actually want to mention a guy that most people haven't put that much focus on, and it's not Mikel Landa, it's Luis Menchines, from Mount Quebec. This guy actually managed. Yeah, exactly. That's his name. He managed to follow Cal Evans and Michael Landa up the mountains and actually win the youth classification. Like, it's a mountain Quebec, like a South African talent who's going to the Giro d'Italia, who's really looking promising.
Yeah, but they are going to the Giro.
Yeah.
I forgot.
So
okay, yeah,
this
that's good.
guy might be a real contender for like the youth classification or the mountain classification, depending on what he goes for. Because if you get
Quintana's a youth.
well, okay,
no way.
then he has to go for the mountain classification, but there's Pirazzi and all that. But still,
Yeah.
I want to say this is the guy to watch out for in the future, together with Mikel Landa, because this.
How old is he? Because he could like go for youth next year.
I think he's 23. I'm not certain. He's
Oh.
he's not very old, and he's South African. He can change to Britain, I guess, sometime, like Froome, and then go to Sky, and then we all know how that's gonna happen.
Well, Froome is Kenyan, so
Aw.
that's even more.
It's almost the same. But I gotta say, he really surprised me. So, one to look out for in the future is definitely Luis Mencius. Good luck with that. So, that was all the races in this week of cycling. Not that many, but actually there were quite a few, but not that action-packed. Only La Flèche Wallonne was televised. That was really exciting. Giro d'Italia was not televised. Giro del Trentino was not televised. Therefore, it's tough to have an opinion on the race.
Yeah, that was really disappointing. It's been televised the last 2 years, and they like cut the funding. That's usually a really good race to watch, and they just.
It is up though. It is up, like the highlights of it,
Yeah, but
but
that's
it's
not
in
the
some
same.
other
Like,
weird language.
Highlights, and it's like
yeah.
the streaming is like geo restricted, and there's only one, and it's like delayed. It's not
Yeah.
cool.
I would not watch that.
Some different language as well, but I'll watch it.
Speaking about
Just to see
different
Cadell.
language, a guy that's speaking different language than all of us, Johan Bruyneel, got a 10-year suspension from the USADA, like in the middle of this week. What do you guys think of that ban? Johan Bruyneel stated himself that he thinks this is an unfair punishment because he's a Belgian citizen while living in United Kingdom, and he got punished by an American government. What do you guys think about this? You can start, Baseball Lover, because it's your government.
Man, the U.S. government, like, we've got all of you. Like, you think you're safe? No, but
The NSA.
the NSA is watching
Okay.
failure right now through that webcam you got a few
Oh
months
my God,
ago.
I'm hiding.
So anyway, I think that it's also unfair. I mean, I perfectly agree with him being charged 10 years. You know, I think that, you're going to make Lance Armstrong have a lifetime ban because, he bullied people and there was like some kind of, it wasn't just doping, like there was this huge thing at US Postal or whatever. But then you give the guy running this entire team that supposedly has this big scam 10 years. So if anything, I think that should be switched. But I think really they should both not be charged more than, any other huge doper would, like Jan Ulrich. But my point is that, yeah, it's not... I think it's kind of cheap because I wanted him to be banned. But now that it's by this guy, I feel myself backing him, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, I have to say one thing, though. The reason they gave Armstrong a lifetime ban is because he's a public figure, while Johan Bruyneel is more of a hidden guy. Like, he's not in front of the cameras 24/7.
Contador's a public figure.
Yeah, but he didn't get a lifetime ban.
Yeah, but why not?
Because he didn't cheat 7 titles and lied to everyone.
How do you know
Yeah,
that he hasn't cheated for the past 7 years?
Well, he hasn't won
Exactly.
7 titles of the Tour de France, and then... Like, that's just bad.
So because he doped and won, it's different than just doping.
It
that you
shouldn't
get
matter
more
if
of a
you
ban?
win or not. Like, what difference did Lance Armstrong do compared to Jan Ulrich? I mean,
He
they
won.
both took drugs, but Lance Armstrong won. But why does Lance Armstrong get more years? Because he
'Cause
won?
he
That
won.
doesn't work.
It's like, it's... well,
Oh.
Someone's gonna have to win.
They're just...
So that's how it
Yeah,
works.
Yeah, that is... In the real
Hey,
life,
if you-
in real life, that's
That's-
how it works.
That's not how it. No. Comment down below what you think, but I'm pretty sure that that's not how it should work. Like if you dope, it shouldn't matter if you won.
But honestly, if you ask people to mention one rider that's won at least the Tour de France, they will say Lance Armstrong. And then when they say Lance Armstrong, he's doped, it's a shit sport. That's where they want to... Nope. Lance Armstrong got banned, so there's justice in this sport. It's a great sport. That's what they're trying to accomplish. But the
Yeah.
guys
He should
watching
get
it...
banned.
Oh, wait, that was a crash.
You shouldn't get
But-
banned more than everyone else.
Yes. If they want to do justice to the sport, you got to give the same.
Why don't you just give
punishment
everyone
to
a lifetime
everyone.
ban then? I'd be
Yeah,
satisfied.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, they got to be even. And when we're talking about Johan Bruyneel, like for him to come out and say that is ridiculous that he's getting whatever punished by the USADA, but you're supplying the drugs to the guy who did all this bad things. You're supplying it to it. Like, how can you say you don't deserve this? Like,
He
I
ran
don't
the
care.
whole doping thing.
I don't care where, like what country did it to you. The UCI banned you or USADA. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you should get banned anyway. Like, for him to even contest that is just.
But there's
It's just
jurisdiction
not right.
rules. There are rules to prevent this sort of things in real life. Why shouldn't there be that in sport then? The USA should not have jurisdiction without outside the lines of America. They shouldn't be able to charge a guy in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, but let's go through this. Like, Johan Bruyneel is not American, and he was involved in this doping thing with US Postal, so that's an American team. Radio Shack as well, American team. Even though he has nothing to do with America, he is still working at America
That's
technically.
true.
Yes, that's why
the team is American registered, so anything that he did for that team.
It's iffy. It's on the line though, because I would if a United Kingdom or Belgian government had said like we're gonna give you a 10-year ban, I would have been totally fine with it and all that. But there has to be some sort of justice. You can't just reach out into another government and be like, "Yep, I'm gonna take this from you." Like, I would be so pissed if Norway banned like Bjarne Riis in Denmark. Just be like, "Yeah, you talked to this Norwegian writer Kudas Lars, and therefore you're getting a 10-year ban from the sport. See you later." Is that really fair?
But I mean, the USADA, the US doping agency, they look after US teams. I mean, if you're someone handling drugs to the US team and you're the manager of that team, I think you should deserve a punishment for that because you're in charge of the actual US team. It's a United States team. I mean,
Yep.
what does Belgium have to do with it? Just because he's born in Belgium, his work is not done in Belgium or wherever he's born at.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, I think you're swaying me.
Okay.
I think this.
Cheaters are very convincing, but let's hear your opinion in the comment section below, because this one is a very tough one to discuss, because there's so many different factors, and when you don't know the entire story, it's tough to judge. But speaking about doping, a topic we talked about, I think like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, was Michael Rogers getting suspended because he was caught for clenbuterol in the Tour of Japan. Or is it the Japan Victory Cup or something like that was called. But he now got clean. His name got clean. So he can now ride, and he's coming back in Liège-Bastogne-Liège, I believe it is, actually. So it's just a little continuation of that topic, and just telling you guys that Michael Rogers actually got cleaned. But first of all, I thought that this was kind of unfair to Alberto Contador. Because first of all, I thought that Contador also ate the beef in Asia, but actually it turned out that he ate the beef, a Spanish beef, in the rest day in the Tour de France. So I recite my opinion saying that Contador deserved that ban because it's a bullshit explanation. So yeah, just a little clearance there that we try to continue some of our topics. So an interview in this week that really had an influence was Lance Armstrong's interview, and he's been coming out more and more. I think the website's called Outside Inside? Something like that. But last week he did a how to fix a flat, and this week he made an interview about his victories. TheChudude, what did you take away from this interview the most? Like, what impacted you the most?
Well, for those who haven't watched the interview, basically there was a reporter asking him about like all these questions about is pretty full-on questions. They're asking him whether he think he deserves a win and whether he thinks he's cheated. All those kind of questions you think like a journo would ask someone like a Lance Armstrong. And Lance's response some people may see it as controversial. I mean, I didn't see it as that bad, to be honest, because I've read a lot about it and stuff like that. But what was his response? So I think he said something like, I think I deserve the Tour victories. If you ask anyone else in the peloton back then,
no, he didn't say
I
that.
won it.
The thing he did say is, I myself I cannot say that, but if you ask the other 200 people in the peloton that suffered with me that same year, I think I know what they'd say, which is basically indirectly saying that yes, I deserved it. Just stating.
Yeah, and I mean, well, it's just Lance being Lance. I mean, he has a very colorful personality, which makes it fun for us to watch these interviews. And I mean, who really cares about it? It's not like he's going to overturn any decisions now. I mean, his punishment is done unless he challenges it, which I don't think he can now.
What?
So I mean, it's just to win facts, win money for the
Okay.
interviewers and stuff like that.
One opinion I share with Cosmo Catalano, which is a guy I get a lot of inspiration from, but it's Lance Armstrong does not seem to be able to give a straight answer unless it's about his doping and saying no back in the days, because whenever he was asked a question, he had to make the answer sound so diplomatic yet in his favor, and I can get enough of that. Sometimes you just have a yes or no answer, and he comes out with like a 20-word answer, and that just sounds like no, I
But
don't do that
but
stuff.
the thing as a journo, when you ask questions, you want a person to answer with 20-word answers. If you're being a journo and you're
Yeah.
asking questions and they're saying yes or no, you're not doing your job
I
correctly,
know,
though.
but as a viewer, I don't want to hear him saying, no, I don't. I won't say my own opinion on this, but he will then put the pressure onto the other riders, saying, if you ask the other 200 riders, I think I know what they say. It's a great interview. I can puke from that, because just say yes or no and be straight for once in your life. Like, that's how I view. How do you see it, baseball lover? You've been living with the Armstrong lies for 7 years.
I've been living with the Armstrong lies. I've never really thought about it like that. Uh, you know, yeah, I think Drew's right. You don't expect a yes or no answer. That's not the way that the reporters try to feed you the questions. Their point is to make you give these long answers, and I think that what he's saying is, fair enough. I mean, everyone was doping,
Yeah. Do you think it's true what
and
he said? He said he was asked a question. Do you think it was a clean race or was everyone riding at arm's length? And then he said that he thought that everyone was doping, but all those small wind tunnels, practices, diets, and all that just made him better than all the others. Everyone was using the same dope, just his practice was better. Do you believe that, or do you think Armstrong
Yeah,
used more?
I think that's true. I mean,
I think that's
it's not like
partly
he didn't
correct too.
train hard. He was probably one of the hardest workers out there. He had that like killer instinct mentality, I think, and that's what probably separated him differently to the other people. I mean, we've seen other riders come out and say how serious of a dick he is, and I think he took that into his riding as well. Like he'd like not let anyone win and took everything seriously. Like he would not want some rider to beat him at training in any single thing.
Hmm.
That's the personality that makes him successful, I think.
The book that I
And
read from Armstrong, the Wheelman book, about his economical fraud, where he earned a lot of money. They start talking about his young days, and he really sounded like a dick. Like there was this, he was eating at a restaurant in Italy, and he called the waiter like a dipshit or a fuckhead. I think it was fuckhead, and he was.
What did he
And he
do?
was, I don't know, he gave him the wrong food or something like that. And he was expecting the
Well,
Italian
yeah,
waiter
then he is.
not to
He
understand.
got one job.
Yeah, but he was assuming that the Italian waiter could not speak English, therefore he called him like cuss words and stuff like that. And then he replies, "Thank you," and that really just showed character from Armstrong, in my opinion. That he was a spoiled little brat when he was younger.
That's
I
funny though,
mean,
because you know when waiters bring me the wrong food and then they walk away, and I'm like with my family and we're always like, wow, that was stupid. What a stupid
But you
waiter.
still have to be nice to him. Waiters are still humans.
Yeah, well, when humans do bad things, then you can fault them for that.
That's a, in my opinion, when I work with humans every day, that's a
I'm
wrong.
also a
Yeah.
Satanist.
Me as a leader of a bunch of groups and projects and stuff like that, if someone fucks up and you goes up to them and says, "You really suck, sir. You should not. You waste of air. Get out of here," then they will never do anything for you again, and they will just get sad. And
That's exactly me after Dan Martin crashed out of
but
Amstel.
well,
I
technically that's
mean,
not the same because he can't hear you. It's not gonna have an impact on him. But what are you saying,
I
Yeah.
mean,
TheChudude?
just wrapping up on the Lance Armstrong. One of the really cool stories I remembered reading was what happened was he was in the training and they were recording watt hitches or some sort of time challenge up a hill, and apparently Floyd Landis beat him, and that was when Floyd was young, and they changed the time around. They said Lance Armstrong had Floyd's stats just to make sure like Lance Armstrong didn't go crazy over it and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So it's yeah, very like that's a personality he has, and um, that's what makes him a champion, I think. And it's undoubtedly he worked harder and better than the rest, I think, and you can't argue with that.
Okay, I agree. Okay, on to the next topic, and it's also like the Michael Rogers topic. It's a continuation of last week's topics. The Colombians are still yet to get a visa, and now another big name has been caught in that turbulence. Rigoberto Rant from Omega Pharma Quickstep has also been denied a visa, so we'll have to be following this in the upcoming weeks to see if another big talent like Roberto Rant will not be allowed to ride the Giro d'Italia, or at least he will not be allowed to start in the UK. What do you guys think about this? Are they too strict now, going after even more riders?
Well,
Yeah.
the Giro does not start in the UK,
But
so
you can't go to the UK. You know, it goes
then there's no
Northern
problem.
Ireland into the UK,
Oh, damn it.
So-
Oh, crap.
so he can't. They
Okay,
won't allow him to go into their
so he's gonna not be able to
unless
race.
they fix
Well, that
something.
opens up the race quite a bit.
But you can't just do. Imagine if Froome got denied visa to the Tour de France.
Oh, that'd be amazing. No Kenyans allowed in Britain.
That'd be funny. But I just gotta say that's a topic to watch out for in the future, because if more of this happens in the big grand tours, it might become a really huge issue, because people should be allowed to race the races they want, and the political issues should not get in the way of that. So,
I mean, we might even see riders. What do you call it? What's that word called? When they just stop doing the race in general. I mean, all the riders just protest and just not even race the race if that's going to
Yeah, I
happen.
could-
That would be fun to watch.
I want to see
Yeah.
what Omega Pharma Quickstep is gonna do in protest of that. Like, I could see them do some sort of gesture, because when Vara Wayland died,
Like a
they did
middle finger
something.
gesture.
No, they'll just boycott the event. That's
But
what I
that would,
think
no,
will
that'd
happen.
be stupid though. That's a big race to boycott, and people will remember you the first day. And then after that, no one will remember that you boycotted the event. So, I think it's a big PR
And
stunt for
it'll
one
look-
day, and that's that over with.
And they'll lose heaps of money from
Exactly.
sponsors.
So that's not very smart. Speaking about heaps of money, tweet of the week this week is featuring Team Sky, and probably the guy who's earning the most amount of money in the sport right now. Chris Froome is featured in this week's tweet of the week. It's saying, "Our man Chris Froome is looking absolutely ripped ahead of Liège-Bastogne-Liège on Sunday." And when we see his
ripped.
veins in this picture, that is disgusting.
He's
That is
the alien,
insane.
remember? But well, he's just an alien. He can't help it.
He's looking really ripped.
I would
Do
not
you
call
think-
that ripped as much as just
No, his veins are.
Have you
That's
seen
ridiculous.
Hincappy? Like he's
Yeah,
Hincappy
his
level.
veins.
He's getting to Hincappy level. That's just not okay.
If I remember on screen right now, I'll try to do a comparison between Hincapie's veins and Froome's veins, and we'll see which one's got the biggest ones.
Oh, there's like, Froome's are more spread out. While Hincappy had this like giant bulge of veins on his inner calf. So
It's
like
sick.
there's like a different strategies here about how you can have them, the best veins. Like
Here's a tutorial how to spread out your veins,
I mean-
featuring Lance Armstrong and Inside and Outside.
featuring ASAR and other
That's
performance-enhancing
kinda
drugs. Like
What's funny about this? When I was reading Tyler Hamilton's book, he said he could judge a rider how fit they were by seeing how much veins they had in their legs. Like he'd go up to events, he'd be like, "Yeah, I could beat that guy. I could beat that guy. Oh, that guy's got a lot of veins. I'm not going to beat him."
I am not very fit then, because I can't see a single vein on my
yeah,
foot.
I don't have veins. I don't have.
I can see them on
there.
my arms, but not my feet. It's kind of funny.
I can see them on my
this,
wrist a little.
This week there was actually a toss-up which tweet of the week. The tweet is going to be the tweet of the week, because in my opinion, Taylor Finney had a really fun one as well, when he was like, "Oh, that moment when you just got done pissing and the doping control knocks on your door." Oh, we all have that one moment. I
Oh
thought it was kind
man,
of
you
funny,
should
'cause
just held it. but
what are you
for-
gonna do then? Are you just gonna sit there for 2 hours with the doping control in your couch? Like, so?
No, they'll
So
probably
that's
like
awkward.
probably give him like a catheter and like make him like sit there.
Go give him a beer keg and be like, "Drink this. We can have a jolly good time. If you give me some of your secrets, that'd be even better. Thank you." Be kind of funny. So tweet of the week was a real success this week. There's a lot to pick between.
Well,
So a game that we all love, and it's coming out really soon. Pro Cycling Manager 14. I love is a strong word for
I
this game,
love
but-
this game.
Okay, it
Not,
has its
I never
flaws
said it
once
was
in a while.
good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good in my opinion. It's the best we have at the moment. It's the only thing we have at the moment. But PCM 14 cover has been semi-released. This is not official or anything, but this is something I think who was it that's found this on Amazon the other day? I saw it was linked on the main Skype call.
I
Doesn't
don't
matter.
know.
Well, on screen right now, you're going to see a picture of the PCM 14 cover as we think it's going to look like. And I really want to say they stepped up their game, because last year's cover was nothing special compared to this year's cover. I really like the futuristic 3D glasses and all that. What do you guys think of this cover?
This is another cyanide stunt to try to get more game sales, but they haven't actually done any changes to the game. They just make the game look better and sell more games, but it'll turn out to be the same old game.
But it's still pretty.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
I think it's pretty.
I think that it looks pretty cool, but it also creeps me out because it's like it looks like one of those aliens from like the 50s in movies. It's kind of creepy. It's like a Martian, the guy.
I really like it. I enjoy it. One thing, I have a small little thing I want to say though. The glasses are not symmetrical. If you look at the nose, the glasses are leaning more to one way than the other. And this is something like me. My degree in my college is communication and how you reach people and how things have to be symmetrical so people can enjoy watching it. This bugs me. When you do something like this, make sure it's at least symmetrical. This looks terrible if you notice this sort of thing, which I do because it's something I have to notice. So
It's like Jakob Volsinger's face. It always looks just terrible.
not like Chris Eggerson going up a mountain. That looks even worse. What are you trying to say, TheChudude?
Before we get carried away, this is not official, so don't just talk shit
Yeah.
about
I
us here.
I hope it is. I hope it is. Honestly,
If it's not
I think it's
official,
really
then
good.
whoever put that
they should hire the guy who put that up on there.
I'm actually looking at it now. It says Focus has put up defocus. I don't know what that means, but
Oh, so it's probably official, but who knows? They will probably make an announcement one of these days on their dev blog, if that's the official one.
Yep.
It just hasn't been released yet. But on to the final topic this week, and I know that you guys have been really looking forward to this one because it's the Liège-Bastogne-Liège preview. It's my first year watching Liège-Bastogne-Liège. What should I watch out for?
well, this one's a bit different than the other two. You'll see a definitely more aggressive race. It's not going to be like the other two, how the brute force at the end wins. It's more going to be who can hold the high wattages for the longest amount of time. It won't be go as hard as you can for 1K. It's going to be more longer out. I mean, Dan Martin certainly didn't have the strongest kick. He was just the strongest on the day, and that's what we'll see this year, I think. I mean, Valverde's going in as the hot favorite. Who do you think will win baseball?
I think that Dan Martin will win. But anyway,
Based on what
realistically, like Chu said, it's a totally different race. You're not just, trying to get in position for 1K and then bombing it up a climb and like riders attack and then just flop. There's more of a sustained effort, like you said, and also there's a much bigger selection at the end. You saw last year. I mean, it was kind of an attack, but in the end, the pack behind only had like Nibali and Gilbert, so it wasn't really. It pretty much was a selection of like 8 or 9 guys, and that brings a totally different element into the final K. Like Perito attacks, nobody wants to follow because they don't want to do something, and they can like keep at their own tempo. They can't just like they gotta follow his wheel, and then like the 25% incline will get them. You saw Dan Martin attacked later, and that ended up being the right move, staying on the wheels. It's a much more tactical race, in my opinion, outside of 1K. Like, you look at Flèche, the tactics are get to the front and attack at the latest moment where you can still get the gap. You can't just use that in a race like Liège. You gotta be planning the whole race out.
I mean, I just watched the race again like a couple hours ago. I just had a look at the last 10Ks, and teammates are going to be really important this race. If you have a solid 2 or 3 guys with you at the end, last 10Ks, you should be like right in box position. So it's going to be tough. I mean, I've looked at the teams. There's no team that stands out to be the best team that have 3 contenders. I mean, Katusha's got Moreno and Rodriguez, but you question their form right now. I mean, I don't
Rodriguez's crash. He did horrible in Flèche.
I mean,
Okay, so who do you think is gonna win? Liège-Bastogne-Liège. One rider.
Martin.
Or top 3. Try top 3. That's gonna be more difficult.
the 3 guys that I'm going to give are outsiders: Kwiatkowski, Gerrans, and Kreuziger. But ultimately, I really think Kreuziger's got a really good chance. It might surprise people, but I really think he's got a good chance.
Martin, Valverde, and my third is Malama.
Yep, I was gonna go with the exact same 3 guys as Baseballlover went with. So it's gonna be exciting to see if it's gonna go with that. Our cobblestones Classics predictions. We were like 1 out of 6 or 2 out of 6 or something like that.
TheChudude knew what was up.
Yeah, TheChudude. Well,
Perfect.
he didn't say that in
Yeah, but he knew in real life.
Yeah. You got really lucky with Nicky Terpstra. We'll see if Peter Sagan... Okay, small little tip or small little information here. If Peter Sagan wins the green jersey on the Tour de France, TheChudude will make how much money?
$126 from putting $4 in.
If you go to the Tour de France, you better be cheering on Peter Sagan. Thank you guys for watching this week's episode of the Weekly Rant. Go watch Baseball Lover and TheChudude's videos. They do quality content.